Republicans have been running scared from their own constituencies.
Absolutely. Their constituencies are kind of going hard.
Oh, their constituencies have been yelling at them, honestly, ever since Trump came into office, ever since he started doing stuff on immigration. We've seen white dudes like, hey, when you going to bring back that Kilmar Brego guy?
Yeah, the type of constituents in like Republican districts that are willing to go to a town hall have been kind of popping off recently.
Yeah. And there's always accusations of like out-of-towners getting bussed in. And in some cases, that might just be true, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily like bussed in by the Democratic Party, but people from out of town might pull up to a Republican just to yell at them. And I think that's totally valid.
I would do it.
It's totally valid. Neighboring congressional districts can be wildly different, so it's a thing that happens. And the most recent victim of democracy, of their own constituency, is a guy named Mike Flood, a Republican in Nebraska who was brave enough to go and explain to his voters why he voted for Trump's budget bill. And they were not happy.
It was a big town hall too.
Yeah.
Dude was in like an auditorium to talk to these people.
It was like an hour of him just incessantly getting screamed at by these people. And, you know, some of them talked a little bit too much like me to pass as his constituent.
For sure. Yeah.
Someone brought up like, why do you support capital and not the working class? And I'm like, all right, man.
Tone it down a little bit.
Leave the manifesto at home. Like, yeah, you're not selling it. But other people had very, very reasonable things to say to this guy. And I want to show you a clip about 50 seconds of one of his responses. He's out here explaining his vote to cut Medicaid. And he has some interesting things as a part of his rationale.
Of course.
That I think that we should take a listen to. So here's him explaining his vote on the Medicaid cuts.
Talks about two big changes to the Medicaid program. One of those changes is that if you are able to work and you are able-bodied, you have to work. If you choose not to work, you do not get free health care. You do not get free health care. Okay. So here's a question. Do you think that people who are 28 years old that can work and refuse to work should get free health care?
An uproar of applause.
Bro's out there getting shitted on.
Yeah.
He's just straight getting shitted on. It's crazy. The clips that came out of this had me kicking my feet like the Slock and Breaking Points interview.
Yeah.
It's just politicians getting their comeuppance.
I love that.
And it's the best thing in the world. This guy's standing up there so smug, you do not get free healthcare. Well, he's getting booed. Who boos anymore?
Yeah. Especially like a constituency of like old white people, because it was in the building was a bunch of old white people, right?
Of course.
Like that's all it's been since the Trump admin started.
Despite the bussing in people from out of town allegations, it's still old white people. It's still people that reasonably look like they're from Nebraska. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's in the corn over there, but they're going crazy.
Yeah. You got to emphasize that this is all happening in Nebraska.
Yeah.
A blood red congressional district in Nebraska.
Even if you're bussing people in, you're not bussing them in from New York.
No.
You're bussing them in from like Omaha.
Yeah, neighboring cities and stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's really good to see. It's sort of cathartic to see politicians get yelled at, especially with Slotkin, because she's my senator. But this guy just, oh, man.
It's so cathartic to hear people boo the guy who just voted to cut Medicaid. Mm-hmm. Like literally just a crowd, like hundreds of people just getting together to boo him.
Yeah.
And then he says, oh, you really want free healthcare? And hearing a resounding yes from everyone in the crowd.
He's like, here, I've made up a caricature of a person that doesn't exist that is like mooching off the government or whatever. Should this person get healthcare? And everyone's like, yes.
Yes.
And it's like another takeaway that I have from this. You could not introduce the idea of public libraries today.
No.
There just would not be, like, politicians would not support the idea of public libraries. You just couldn't get them to do it.
I would be reluctant to say you couldn't even bring up the idea of like a fire department today.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a private fire corporation in every town, you could not get Republicans to vote to nationalize the service or make it public or make it funded by tax dollars, because that would take money out of people's pockets. That would take money out of shareholders' pockets.
Yeah, and fundamentally the idea here is that everybody is entitled to healthcare coverage. Mm-hmm. And a common argument you hear against universal healthcare is that you're not entitled to the labor of another person, which would be required for a universal healthcare system. Under the United States Constitution, you have a right to an attorney.
Not only an attorney, but a right to a jury of your peers.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you get summoned for jury duty.
In fact,
and you have to go.
In fact, we can just say that this thing is a human right and therefore everyone has access to it. It's a thing we did 250 years ago.
Exactly.
Like it's a thing that happens. It's a thing we can do.
And people want to be doctors.
Yeah.
People go to medical school to become a doctor, and it's a rigorous process and it's a hard process, and they got to do a lot to get in. They got to prove they really want to be there because they want to be there and they want to help people out.
And to be clear, like under a universal healthcare system, we're still paying the doctors.
Of course.
Like we're not enslaving healthcare professionals.
No, yeah, literally, it's not just sending some guy a piece of mail like jury duty and saying, "Oh, you're at med school. Oh,
Yeah.
you're resided to 10 years of training now. Just do it for free."
It's just at the end of the day, somebody's going to have to pay for a healthcare system. And if we have a privatized system of care where individuals or individual workplaces are negotiating with insurers to get the lowest rates possible, then they can jack up the prices because everybody needs healthcare. It's an inelastic good, right?
Yeah.
It's going to have constant demand.
There's a part of the town hall where he's yelling back at his constituents saying something like, "Oh, money doesn't grow on trees. I wish we lived in a perfect world where the government could pay for everything. But you know what? When the government pays for something, guess who's paying for it? You guys." And it's like, yes. Exactly. And the point of it is that when the entire tax base of the United States is responsible for paying into the collective pot to give like a universal healthcare system the money that it needs to function, that is the most collective bargaining.
Yeah.
Literally, you've maxed out the collective that you can bargain.
Yep.
And you have a lot of power in that when the United States, the single payer, negotiates on behalf of hundreds of millions of people.
Yeah, I forget what the economic term is, but when there's only one buyer of a product, then all the sellers or all the providers have to just agree to the price that they're offering. Otherwise, they don't get to make a profit. They don't get to sell their product.
Yeah.
So if only the United States government was negotiating on behalf of every single one of us, the prices end up going down, which means the taxes we pay into the system to maintain a universal healthcare system would be lower than what we have to pay for privatized insurance right now. It would save money on the whole.
Like, you already pay for healthcare.
Yeah, you're going to, no matter what, you will be paying for healthcare. A premium is you paying for other people's healthcare.
No matter what system you live under, you are paying for healthcare. Yes, there is no free healthcare, but right now you're paying for more expensive healthcare than you would be if there is just a single payer.
Yeah.
Maybe the biggest single payer, maybe the United States government.
And other countries have already figured this out. It's not some secret. Like, we know how to do this. There are models from overseas. And in fact, some countries are able to enjoy such luxurious healthcare systems. I say luxurious and it just covers everybody. They're able to enjoy better healthcare systems, partially because of the research that we do in the United States. So we have a system where we are funding public research through like the NIH, for example, and yet we don't benefit from that research being done in the U.S. because we have a privatized system of care where they can name the price, and if you can't pay it, you just go into medical debt or you just don't get your treatment.
Yeah, it's the prescription drug thing. We pay like more for prescription drugs than anywhere else, despite coming up with the prescription drugs. Fucked up.
Yeah, like there's a moral argument, obviously. I think that everybody deserves access to healthcare. I think healthcare is a human right in a nation that is able to pay for it for everybody, and we certainly are. We're the wealthiest country in the history of the world, and I think it's fundamentally immoral for you to paywall access to a medical service that somebody needs and not give it to them just because they don't have the money to afford it. I think that's fucking wrong, and we shouldn't allow that system to exist. But there's also an economic argument where it's like, look, healthy workers are better workers.
Yes.
On the whole, we will produce more as a society. We'll be a healthier, happier society if we have universal healthcare coverage.
And if anybody can go to the doctor, they can go to the doctor when they're maybe not feeling super sick so that they can stop something from getting super wrong with them so that they can be a better member of society. If we invest in preventative medicine, which would be a lot easier if people don't have to pay out the wazoo to go to the emergency room, or just not even the emergency room, just go to their doctor for their yearly checkup, then we have a healthier country overall.
Yeah, and all this to say that obviously this guy, Mike Flood, is getting yelled at by his red constituency, or at least people from the same area that he's representing, right?
People in Nebraska.
The Democratic Party needs to champion universal single-payer healthcare coverage in this next election, in 2026 and in, of course, 2028 when we have a presidential candidate. That is like, it's the only way forward, man. People absolutely want it. Explaining it in a simple way where it's like the government will cover everybody and it will be cheaper, I think will resonate with a lot of people. It's just an issue of, is the Democratic Party willing to push back against an industry that makes a lot of fucking money off of keeping us in a perpetual state of suffering.
And it's like, clearly there is a craving for it, right?
Yeah.
Whether or not the bulk of the people here were bussed in by the Democrats, they weren't bussed in by radical progressives. They weren't bussed in by the people that people think of as radicals. These were people that just came in to speak their mind, and it just so happened that they were all like, tax the rich, we want free healthcare. There's a groundswell of support for these policies that's going on that isn't being addressed by the actual party. The messaging for universal healthcare, for something like Medicare for All, for a single-payer system, should not stop and end at people going to conservative town halls and making fun of and heckling their conservative politicians. It should start at that, and it should end at the actual passage of legislation.
And it's like, we know what causes healthcare prices to be high. It's the fact that the healthcare providers and the insurance company set the prices.
They're gouging you.
That's literally all it is. It's because if you can't pay a certain amount for some procedure, they can just say, okay, well, you don't get it. I'm going to make my money elsewhere. If we had a single payer, then they have no option but to provide a service at that price tag. Otherwise, they just don't get paid.
Yeah.
There's no other option if we have a single payer system. It's just the better way to organize society. Like, everybody is entitled to K through 12 public education in this country. I know conservatives don't really like that.
Say there's a lot of people that don't want that.
But that system exists because we have recognized that education is something that benefits everybody collectively. We want to live in a society where our kids can grow up and be educated. That's a good thing. It is within the common interest to have that kind of system. Healthcare is the same thing.
It's a radical public good.
Yeah, it's necessary, and I'm glad that I'm happy to see Mike Flood get a little bit dogged on.
I didn't even know who he is. This is my first interaction, introduction to Mike Flood too, and it couldn't have been better.
It feels good, man. Feels good. Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Yes, what a warm welcome back. What another wonderful news week. A lot of stuff that's going on that's
lots of stuff
worthy to talk about.
More redistricting war news. Got to cover that. Texas is up to some shenanigans once again. We got some Epstein news. Absolute classic out of Epstein, of course. And then there's some other crazy stuff at the end.
Oh, there's some other crazy stuff for sure. We got to talk about a new law introduced by Virginia Foxx and Gottheimer. I'm not going to spoil what it is. Please listen, because it's absolutely insane. And we got to give a little peace of mind to Andrew Cuomo.
Absolutely, I love Cuomo
because he's been in the news this week doing something that's not very good.
Well, we'll get there. But before we get into the show today, I'm going to remind you all to become a patron, please. Please. You could get early access to all of our content. You help support the show, and you get access to the postcard list, and it's a really good time.
Postcard list in its entirety, and also. Get some stickers once we hit our new goal.
Once we hit our new goal, exactly.
Heavy on the hitting our new goal that you guys need to help us get if you want the stickers.
So if you want all that, then you got to go and become a patron. And I know over the last couple of weeks we got some new listeners.
Yes,
because we had some viral posts on Instagram and TikTok and whatnot. So if you're from those platforms, welcome to the show. Pull up a seat. Become a patron.
Exactly.
Enjoy
for all the long episodes that you really like. You really like the length.
You can also support us through all the links in the description. Follow us on social media. Get some Hito merch. All of that is down there for you if you want it. And lastly, you can leave a 5-star review on Apple.
Apple and Spotify.
You can comment, leave a 5-star on Spotify. And if you could rate the show 5 on Spotify, that would be great.
That's phenomenal. Well. That's a part of it. I can't check that. I can't check that and guarantee that if you commented, you've also rated 5. But it would weigh heavy on your soul if you did not rate 5, but you left a comment and we read it.
Yeah, you can't lie because lying is wrong.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, really. So we're going to start today with the one Apple review that we got. This one is from straight out the big ATL. This show is incredible. Let me start out by saying that I condemn Hamas and all political violence. Tricky one there. Now that I've got that in there, I have to say that these two quirked up white boys are the best, and I mean the best news source on the planet. I've established a complete echo chamber around their work and refuse to consume any other media. That's how good they are. Please give them a listen. I mean, shit, when you produce a whopping 2 to 3 hours of content every week, everybody should be creating an echo chamber around that.
I'm going to have to just fundamentally agree with that one. This review from Spotify, Ben Andrews 3566, they say 5 out of 5 stars. I got to start with a full condemnation of Hamas political violence and Cory Booker's theater kid energy. I've been listening since last year after I found myself yelling at the Pod Johns in my car and giving y'all a try after a TikTok. Now I'm a hitohead, pushing the pod wherever I can shamelessly. I was up late with y'all on the election night stream, not dooming, I swear. And it was by far the best coverage. Keep it up and good vibes from your Midwest neighbor, Madison, Wisconsin. Next one from Avery Smith, 5 out of 5 stars. I condemn Hamas and all political violence. 4th-time reviewer, but first time leaving a review on Spotify. Let's go. As a black man, one of my core values is that I don't cape for too many white folk. Don't cape?
I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure.
I'm going to run with it, though. It's a very, very, very small list. However, these two white boys are earning their spot on my list. Nothing but consistent good takes and vibes. Definitely a breath of fresh air that isn't another Dude Bro podcast, the best geopolitical podcast in tertiary news source.
Type shit. Big on that. This next one, 11 out of 5 stars. Quick condemnation of Hamas and all forms of political violence. Woke kitty. Good to know that y'all have a mental health supporter to ensure you beautiful boys can healthily continue being the #1 geopolitical podcast on the air. I've noticed that I have to dig through my Spotify to find any episode that mentions Hamas or Ukraine, which is highly suspect. However, I have and will never fail to find, listen to, and comment on every episode posted. Keep up the good work.
Excellent. Next one from Lily Eliza, 5 out of 5 stars. I condemn all things, but most of all, I condemn the fact that you have not shared the cat more. What's the cat's name? I love the woke kitty. She told me the other day that Israel doesn't have the right to exist. And I was like, whoa. I was like, calm down. Her name is Clementine. She's excellent. Sometimes she interrupts the podcast, though. If you ever see a hard jump cut, it's because she caused a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, there was one in the cold open of this episode because she knocked something over behind the camera here. But yeah, she's the fucking communist of the household. So
yeah, a little radical.
Yeah.
Radical right there.
So do we got any other reviews in here?
We got this last one, 5 out of 5 stars. Listening to Hiddo in addition to my music playlists is what gets me through the overnight shift at Home Depot.
True.
Praying for you.
We do got one from Clara Ho, which just says 5 out of 5. But I still appreciate the effort. You know what I mean?
It's a go to notice there.
It's there. It's brief. I don't got to do too much reading. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. So if you want your 5-star review read, go leave it on Spotify in the comments, or write a 5-star on Apple. Maybe one day Apple will accept us into the new and noteworthy section. But I'm starting to lose hope. It's been too long.
It's ridiculous. We're not new, but we're noteworthy.
I would say so. I would say so. We're on the radar.
Yes, we are.
We are on the radar. We've made news before.
On a radar.
We've been in articles before.
That's true. Tudor Dixon's blog.
Yeah.
They talked about us when we had Abdul on.
Yeah, we had Abdul, and he said...
Bro was on Fox 2.
He said he didn't fuck with ICE. Yeah, I've been on Fox 2. They have said a newscaster, a professional, has said Head in the Office podcast before. That's a big deal.
It's fucked up.
Anyways, let's get into the news here and start with redistricting. I am currently harboring 3 Texas Democrats in my apartment right now.
Yeah,
I am paying their legal bill. I'm paying their fines.
I'm paying the $500 a day that they're being fined. I will be fundraising in the chat for this.
We are sending money from the LLC to the politician. I know it's illegal, but we have to do it for our democracy. The nation, of course, is still in the throes of this redistricting battle between Texas and California. Other states are lumped in, like New York and Illinois, although it's unclear if any state's actually going to do anything here. But last we spoke of it, Texas Democrats had fled Texas to deny the legislature quorum to vote on a new map, which gave 5 new seats to the GOP in Congress. Got to reiterate, none of this is based on like new data. None of this is based on like new population surveys. It is just 5 new seats by redrawing the lines on the map, which is cheating.
No, yeah, literally. I saw an interview with, I think, somebody from the Texas state legislature where they were asked on the news like why they're doing this, and he just said, because we can.
Yeah.
He said, like, I'm paraphrasing loosely here, or I guess not loosely, but kind of. I can't remember the exact quote. He said, we're doing it because we can. It is legal in the state of Texas to do this. We want to do this. It will help the GOP. And then he said, there are 3 Hispanic districts that we can carve out for Republican leadership. Bro said we're disenfranchising minorities.
Yeah,
because we can and because it's illegal.
I think a lot of their rationale here is that there are districts that Trump won among like Latino voters. He like outperformed what he did in the 2020 election and in like previous elections. Yeah. So I think they're assuming that this shift is like a permanent change in the electorate. I do wonder if they're sort of overplaying their hand here. Because they are constructing new minority majority districts, which is something under the Voting Rights Act. But I wonder if they're only doing so because they think, well, obviously they're only doing so because they think it'll net them new seats, but they're doing it on the basis of these people voted for Trump last time, so we've got them in the future.
I think partly. I think they're just trying to like dilute like good portions of the Hispanic vote to add in like other obviously Hispanics that voted conservative, maybe because they can fucking look at the zip code and do a racial, not racial gerrymander, since the Supreme Court said that that's okay, and just gerrymander based on like party lines, party affiliation. So I think what they're doing is they're taking previous Hispanic districts that may have voted Democrat and just adding in the zip codes that were more conservative leaning, but were still Hispanic to still have the majority minority districts, even though the fucking Supreme Court's questioning those lately, aren't they? Yeah, so it's all fucked.
The Supreme Court is right now looking at the provision of part of the Voting Rights Act that does the minority majority districts.
Nice.
And I would imagine they will strike them down, which would require just about every state to redraw their district lines because those would be unconstitutional. So, I mean, we're sort of like hurtling towards the end times here.
Yeah, they're just telling you they want to disenfranchise minorities and they want to disenfranchise anybody that would possibly vote for a Democrat.
And Texas is specifically doing this because Trump asked them to recently.
Yeah.
Because he's worried about the midterms, given how unpopular literally everything he does is right now.
I mean, shit, look at the Mike Flood town hall. I'd be worried too.
Yeah, no, they're going to start breaking up Nebraska districts too. Nebraska's already pretty red, but so is Texas.
So
it's bad. But I do want to state that this special session in Texas was called by Greg Abbott in early July, and it also included the consideration of a bunch of other bills. Most importantly, I think, was flood disaster relief and funding for like early flood warning systems and stuff like that. And what I want to say about this is like Greg Abbott is using disaster relief for the Texas floods as leverage to pass a new gerrymandered map. He is holding relief funding hostage so that he can give his party an advantage in the 2026 midterms.
He is letting you suffer. He is letting the people of Texas suffer. He's letting his constituents suffer just so that he can make his constituents in the future suffer in a more different way.
He didn't have to do this. They didn't have to pair flood or disaster relief funding with the new gerrymandered congressional maps that Trump wanted. This was wholly a decision that was made by Greg Abbott to place leverage or to place pressure on the Democratic Party because he knew they wouldn't want to vote for the redistrict maps and he knew they would want to vote for the flood disaster relief funding. And so when you pair them together, you make the Democratic Party choose when the Republicans could have just passed the flood disaster relief on their own.
And this is the same party. These are the same people who, after the Texas floods happened, were yelling at you, saying, don't politicize this tragedy. Why are you politicizing these floods? And then they go and tie this to the most corrupt political process that they possibly could.
Yes.
And then try and blame the Democrats for it.
They are literally playing political games when it is actually life or death.
Yeah.
Like, people will die in the future if you do not pass these early flood warning systems, and you're playing political games so you can get a new map.
And it's not even like rhetorical political games, right? It is just political games. Like, it's legislative.
Yeah.
They're holding the funding hostage.
I hate commercials.
Me too.
I hate listening to them. I hate when I hear them, whether it's on TV or on podcasts.
Grr, I just can't stand commercials. Grr.
They're the worst. And the one place you can go to avoid commercials, like this one you're listening to right now, is patreon.com/headintheofficepod. Become a patron and you get early access to our episodes, and they're all completely commercial free. No more interruptions.
And you could be one of our friends.
And that's arguably the more important point.
And, you know, in trying times like this, friendship is what we really need.
Friendship's really important. And you can buy your way into being a friend of ours by heading over to patreon.com/headintheofficepod. Again, early access to episodes, no commercials, access to all of our content before anyone else sees it. Become a patron. I do also want to note on this bit about gerrymandering and its like preponderance just around the country, because blue states do it too, right? Like Illinois' map, pretty gerrymandered.
I think Illinois is the most gerrymandered state, but like, because I've been seeing this defense all week.
The most gerrymandered blue state.
Yeah, not to like, I think it's the most gerrymandered
state.
Oh, really? Just in general. Illinois is fucked, dude. Okay. It's crazy. But like, I've seen people point that out, not to like go on a tangent, but it really pisses me off, dude. I've been seeing people on Twitter just all week start yelling about Illinois' gerrymander and how Democrats gerrymander too. And again, yes, it's true that Democrats gerrymander too, but not to the same extent that Republicans do it. And in most cases, not as maliciously as Republicans do it. That's just a fact. There are more Democrat-controlled areas that are under independent redistricting committees by a wide margin than there are Republican-controlled areas. Yeah. They do not do these things equally across the country. There are one or two examples that you can cherry pick where Democrats are doing things worse than Republicans, gerrymandering worse than Republicans. But by and large, this is an issue that Republicans lean on to be able to win at any portion of the House.
Yeah. And I also want to note that like this entire gerrymandering war that's happening between Texas and California and a couple of other states would not be happening if the Republican Party had voted for H.R. 1 in 2021.
Yes.
H.R. 1 mandated that every state use independent redistricting commissions when the census data comes out and they have to redraw their congressional maps. Every single Democrat voted for it. Every single Republican voted against it.
But it's crazy because they can't vote for it.
Yeah.
Republicans literally can't vote for H.R. 1 or else they wouldn't be in control of the House right now.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, once again, only 3 seats needed to flip for Democrats to have control of the House in this last election. Obviously, before Democrats died and whatnot. But only 3 seats need to flip. That's it.
Yeah.
If you take all those counties that are controlled by Republican legislatures and you put them under independent redistricting commissions, you are almost literally guaranteed to get more Democrat seats considering how gerrymandered places like Texas are.
Yeah, because right now there's a built-in Republican advantage every election.
Yes.
Again, if Republicans were genuinely concerned about the issue of gerrymandering, because some are pretending that Texas is doing this in response to places like California and Illinois, the Republican Congress, the Republican government currently controlled by all Republicans, they could vote tomorrow or whenever the House comes back into session on a bill that would outlaw gerrymandering and require independent commissions for every single state in the country. But they won't do that because they're not interested in fairness. They're interested in maintaining political power so they can continue to brutalize minorities. That's the only goal. They are worried about 2026 because everything the party has done at a national level is wildly unpopular. And the only way they can win in 2026 is by cheating, or at least that's their calculation.
Nobody does something that's popular and says, okay, we need to now cheat to make sure that we can stay in power. No administration that's doing that would so gleefully, openly, and willingly engage in probably the most unpopular thing in politics, gerrymandering. It's the most blatantly corrupt thing that's legal to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough, and if a civilized society has to get rid of gerrymandering. Like, it's no other country does it the way that we do it. There are districts in other countries, of course, like other countries operate on a district-like system, but they have independent groups that do it for them because they know that politicians, if they can redraw their own lines, will do it in such a way that advantages them and their party and essentially makes a society less democratic.
Yes,
and that's a bad thing.
And it's like, until it happens nationally, you know what? Blue states should engage in the gerrymander war.
No, yeah, for sure.
Blue states absolutely should make it a problem for Republicans to provoke them into actually passing H.R. 1 or just any national legislation that would ban gerrymandering and enforce independent redistricting commissions. There is no reason when the stakes are this high to be neutering yourself right now.
Yeah.
If they, and it's like, I say that it's critical support to gerrymandering. It's critical support to gerrymandering in blue states because gerrymandering is bad. Gerrymandering does disenfranchise people. It is anti-democratic, but we would not be in the position where ICE is funded more than the IDF.
Yeah.
We would not be in a position where fucking Medicaid coverage is taken away from millions of Americans in 2026, or I guess early 2027, late 2026.
Over the next 10 years,
we would not be in a position where all of the bad things that Trump has done and the Republican Party has put their name on would have been even able to happen.
Yeah.
Should Democrats not have done the right thing in the past? And that's a shitty realization to come to.
Yeah.
Or not even realization. That's just a shitty situation to be in when now more than ever it is so blatant just how anti-democracy the GOP is and just how much they will do literally whatever they can to win. And I think people, just regular people on the ground level, are craving that from Democrats.
Yeah, we are staring down the barrel of the end of the democratic system in our country as we know it. I mean, the Supreme Court is on the verge of potentially ruling that birthright citizenship is not a thing in the U.S. Constitution.
That's democracy ending.
That is democracy. Like, we're talking about the end of society as a whole. And if Democrats choose to do nothing, if they do not, if California doesn't try to gerrymander their map further to get more Democratic seats to counter this move in Texas, then we just lose. And if they do try, we might still lose in the end anyway, but at least we're doing something with the rules or with the tools that we have available to us right now. So yeah, I mean, when one side isn't following the rules, you can't continue to follow the rules too. The norms don't matter if only one side is going to adhere to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to do something, and as long as the Republicans are doing this, we got to do it in response. And like in 2020, when I was just a youngin', I voted in favor of the Independent Redistricting Commission ballot proposal in Michigan.
Well, of course.
And Michigan's a little bit of a different case because it's like purple, right? Like we're not a solidly blue state. I don't think any party, I don't think like even if we had the Democratic trifecta that we could necessarily gerrymander the hell out of the map because I don't know if we'd have the votes necessary for it. But in a state like California, in a state like New York, in a state like Illinois, it doesn't make sense for us to tie one hand behind the back when we are facing a fascist takeover.
Yes.
Like we just have to do something about it.
And the margins are so close.
Yeah.
The margins are so close in the House.
Yeah.
Something could really be done if we got those maps gerrymandered, if we got more Democrats in. Even the shitty Democrats would be better than what we have now.
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
Now, back to the news here. More recently, the Republican-run state house in Texas voted to arrest Democratic lawmakers who fled the state.
That's insane.
Greg Abbott apparently told state troopers to, quote, locate, arrest, and return to the House chamber any member who has abandoned their duty to Texans, literally taking political prisoners.
How the hell are Texas state troopers supposed to go to Illinois and grab people?
They can't,
like
right?
They have no jurisdiction there. And, maybe that won't even matter soon.
Of course, Texas state troopers can't, but Greg Abbott seems to be, or at least Texas Republicans seem to be lobbying for help from the FBI. Texas Senator John Cornyn, who's up for re-election in 2026, urged the FBI to assist in the arrests and send Democratic lawmakers back. And when asked about it, Trump gave his famous, "Yeah, we might have to get involved."
That's insane. They're telling you they're gonna arrest lawmakers. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
Yeah.
They're not, they're like abusing the rules of the Texas House, but it's not even like an abuse of power.
Not really, though.
It's something that they can do.
Yeah, denying quorum is like a historical thing that state legislatures like do.
They're not even abusing like their powers. It's just something that they can do. This is part of the rules. They're operating within the bounds of what they can do in this situation. Mm-hmm. And now you're saying, no, I want you to be arrested.
I learned today that Abe Lincoln once denied the Illinois State House quorum so that they couldn't vote on things.
Nice.
He threw himself out a window so that he wasn't present for the vote, so they couldn't vote on stuff. He denied the quorum.
Hell yeah.
And that's Abe Lincoln. That's the Republicans supposed to be the party of Lincoln.
Yeah, party of Lincoln, Reagan, and Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Now, special sessions in Texas are only supposed to last for 30 days. So Democrats technically only need to last until August 21st, but there's no rule that prevents Abbott from just continuously calling new sessions. And we should also note that Texas legislators aren't full-time. They are part-time and they get paid like $600 a week or something like that. That's or $600 a month, is it? I can't remember. They don't get paid a lot.
Yeah. And they're being fined, I think, $500 a day.
Yeah.
For being gone.
So their stipend is getting eaten up by the fines.
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
Their stipend for the year is gone at this point. I think I had seen people say that they need to stay out till December.
Yeah, because they would have to pass the maps before the end of the year in order for them to apply for the 2026 election. But I don't see why Abbott wouldn't just keep calling special sessions and keep like loading up the pressure, specifically like the monetary pressure, until eventually they crack and have to come back. Because like they have to work, right? Yeah. Like they don't get paid enough through the legislature to live.
And I think only a couple of them need to come back, right? Isn't the Texas state legislature 150 people and they need at least 2/3 there and 51 fled?
It's something like that, yeah.
Like only a couple Democrats would need to come back for them to have quorum and be able to vote on this. Mm-hmm. Damn, this really a solidarity moment that they need to have.
I think the goal of the Texas Democrats here is that California and Illinois, maybe New York, takes action fast enough to essentially force Republicans to stand down.
Yeah.
I think Gavin Newsom was talking about doing something where they're going to offer like an amendment this year, a special election amendment to their constitution this year that would essentially let the voters vote on a provision that would trigger a new map in California if Texas passes a new map.
That'd be so gas.
Essentially making it so like ball is in your court. If you do this, we're doing it, and it's not going to matter if you did it.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens because again, Democrats have sort of tied their hands behind their back here for good reasons. I will note.
Like
of course. It's good that they're interested in fairness. But it's not good that interest in fairness is sort of holding us back from fighting back against Republicans here. But so I don't know what's going to happen. But I think the goal is that eventually we can get them to stand down, which I don't see why they would. I feel like they're just going to try to do it.
Oh, absolutely. No, there's no way that Texas doesn't try to do this. I had seen people get on there and say, I don't care what happens in other states, I'm doing what's best for Texans. Despite this objectively being not what's best for Texans, Texans will lose Medicaid because of what Republicans are doing. Republican leadership is bad for Texas.
Yeah.
It just straight up is because Republican leadership sucks.
Yeah, I think Trump got 56 or 55% of the vote in 2024 in Texas. And under these new maps, it would be 80% representation for Republicans in Congress.
Yeah, I think
it would make it 80-20.
would be 82%.
Yeah.
It'd be 82% for Republicans, 18% for Democrats.
And the House is supposed to be the more democratic body,
Yes.
right? Like, obviously the Senate is a fundamentally anti-democratic institution. Everybody gets 2 senators, and that's a fucked up thing.
Yeah,
but the
some
House,
states have more senators than representatives.
you would, if we had a fair system, you would think 45% of people voting for Democrats, let's just ballpark it at that, for Texas would mean 45% of the elected representatives for Texas in Congress would be Democrats. That's not the way it works right now, and it certainly wouldn't be the way that it works under the new map that they're proposing. And that's fucked up. All because they can fuck with the rules, how the map looks, just to dilute everybody's vote.
Yeah.
And that's really bad.
That's
I don't
why
like that.
gerrymandering is bad.
Yeah. Real end of an empire stuff that we got. And the last thing I want to say on this is, like, all this does is generate more distrust in our political system. People already think my vote doesn't matter. And when somebody gerrymanders your state, your vote literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like they dilute the power of your vote because they pack you in with, in some cases, they pack you in with a bunch of people that they know are going to vote a certain way, because most of the population just votes for Republicans or
They
Democrats.
said,
already.
this neighborhood is registered Democrat. I'm going to draw a line across the state that connects them to a massive rural center where there are 100 Republican farmers or farmhands diluting your one city suburb vote.
Yeah. It's not great. I don't like it. And one thing that Republicans have been doing recently that I thought was very funny is they're like, Democrats are all mad about Texas being gerrymandered. Well, here's a list of states that only have Democratic representation. And included in that list are states like Delaware, Vermont, Rhode Island, Hawaii. And these states have 1 or 2 congresspeople.
Yep.
It's like, well, first of all, there can't be a gerrymander if there's only one, because the district is the entire
It's
state.
just one option.
Yeah. But also it's like the gerrymanders they're talking about, the only one that's actually severe is Illinois.
Yeah.
And again, there's a way to solve that. There was a way to solve that. There was an option on the table, and they didn't take it.
They didn't take it.
So,
they didn't let it happen.
Yeah.
Pot kettle.
Pot kettle.
This episode of Head in the Office is brought to you by Ground News.
Media literacy is a key component of our podcast here, but spotting the biases in news and reporting, especially in our nonstop media landscape, can be hard. Thankfully, the folks over at Ground News are working to make this a lot easier.
Ground News is an app and a website that collects news from all around the world and puts it in one place so you can compare coverage, uncover political biases, and learn who is funding each publication.
Ground News has a lot of cool features, such as the bias distribution, which shows you the political leanings of the sources reporting on each story, and the blind spot tab, which highlights stories that are being missed by either the left or the right. Ground News will even tell you your own news bias based on the articles you've read on their site.
If you're interested in Ground News, you can go to check.ground.news/headintheoffice for 40% off. The link is also in the description. We would suggest taking a look at their Vantage plan to unlock all the fancy features we referenced, and subscribing to Ground News also helps out the show, which we know you all want to do.
Special thanks to Ground News for sponsoring this podcast, and back to the episode. Moving on to some Epstein news, though.
We got to keep talking about Epstein.
Gotta keep talking about it.
The man will never die.
He'll never die, and Trump keeps having things to say about him. So we're going to keep talking about Epstein. So the House of Representatives is in recess, of course, but the committees are still doing some stuff, apparently, because the House Oversight Committee recently voted to subpoena multiple people for congressional deposition and issued a subpoena to Pam Bondi as well for documents related to the Epstein and Maxwell cases. So they're locked in.
They're low-key locked in, yeah.
And it was Republicans that voted. I think the vote was like 8-2 in committee or something, which means Republicans are voting for it.
What Republicans are on the Oversight Committee?
I don't remember.
Nice.
I can't. I think one of them is like James Comer, not Comey, Comer. But he was the Republican that voted for this or introduced it or something like that, and it did get Republican votes. So
valid. I mean, this is an issue I imagine they cannot run away from when they go to their town halls, especially coming in August where everyone is going back home and doing town halls.
Right.
If there was ever one issue where Republicans had the leeway to break with Trump on a certain thing, it is Epstein. It is the enduring thing.
Yeah, the most prolific human sex trafficking operation in modern history. Feels like a good thing to care about.
Yeah.
It feels like a thing that they care about too. So you might be wondering, okay, individuals are getting subpoenaed here. Who was subpoenaed?
Yeah, why don't you tell us who was subpoenaed?
We got Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Hell yeah.
That fucked so hard, dude. I'm so excited for that. We got Merrick Garland, which I don't know exactly what they want from him other than he was sitting on the Epstein files and did nothing with them, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what he did for everything. He kind of just sat on everything and did nothing. Merrick Garland
he did
sucks,
refuse to ever do anything.
Yeah. Part of me is glad that Obama was denied that last Supreme Court appointment, because he was going to appoint Merrick Garland. And Merrick Garland deserves pain and suffering for doing nothing to protect our republic.
Real.
So
Merrick Garland would probably be what like Brett Kavanaugh or Amy Coney Barrett is to the Republican side of the bench if he was a Democrat. He would be voting with the Republicans on a lot of these things. I don't have any concrete proof for that. This is just a vibes-based assessment.
Yeah.
But the vibes truly are there. The way he constantly capitulated, the way he like dropped cases and refused to investigate things because they were so worried about
partisanship,
being perceived as doing partisan investigations or partisan attacks. Like, buddy, we're way beyond that. Because as soon as Trump took office, we're investigating everybody. We're investigating this person. We're investigating Joe Biden. We're investigating blah, blah, blah.
He's talking about arresting Obama like last week.
Yeah, we're arresting Joe Biden. We're dropping charges against Eric Adams.
Like Merrick Garland took office like 2 weeks after there was an attempted coup. Like, dog, you had all the ability in the world to go after these people, and you didn't. You went after the people that like physically were in the Capitol rioting. Like a bunch of them got sent to jail. But like, why didn't you go after like the people that caused it?
But that is like aesthetically substantive. Like the actual substance there would be going after Trump, would be going after other people. Fucking, I don't even know if you could, but go after Rudy Giuliani. But didn't he get disbarred for lying in front of court or some shit? Do something, man. Just Merrick Garland, do anything challenge. Impossible.
There was like 20 Republican senators or something like that were like that were trying to hold up the vote, claiming voter fraud when the votes were trying to get passed on the Senate floor. Those people were trying to like commit a coup, man.
Yeah.
Like there was all the reason in the world to at least get somebody, and we didn't. And
we couldn't even get one kangaroo court.
And so, exactly. And so I don't know, man. Just like critical support to subpoenaing Merrick Garland here.
Yes.
I'm in support of that. Next one, Bill Barr, former Trump Secretary of Defense, I think. Was Bill Barr, I believe?
I thought he was Attorney General.
Or was he former Attorney General?
I think so.
I don't know. Fucking fact check me.
Yeah, let me look that up.
William Barr is in there though, and then there's a bunch of former DOJ.
Yeah, he was Attorney General.
Okay, Attorney General. So there's a bunch of also former DOJ officials that are just listed in this subpoena, which I'm happy to see about. I think both from the Biden administration and from the Trump 1 administration. According to the subpoena, current DOJ officials have until August 19th to hand over the requested documents.
Oh, that's quick.
That's 12 days from now.
Ooh.
12 days from now. Although they will probably end up ignoring this or challenging it in court because laws don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Then the individuals are called to testify between the time the House comes back into session and mid-October, and the final testimonies are from the Clintons.
That's so sick, man. Yeah. They love the drama too. That's the one thing I can respect about Republicans is they also love the drama. They can appreciate structuring a story so that we're building tension up until the climax. And I would also like to just sit here and bide my time until the Clintons' response. Yeah. It'd be a waste to put them up front.
Oh my God, I know. It's like I love that the Clintons are being put. It was like October 19th or something like that. Like it's a ways away. They are stretching this thing out.
And they're making them sit with it too.
And it's like so many Republicans could get their Watergate moment here. Like there were a lot of Republicans back during the Watergate stuff that were forgiven for all of their sins because they went after Nixon. So many of Republicans could get that right now, but they won't.
Oh,
even though I think honestly, I think this cover up is far bigger than Watergate ever was. But Jesus Christ.
Watergate was they like spied a little bit.
They spied. They like broke into the DNC and shit like that. They broke
into the DNC to like plant like audio listening devices. Yeah. Some shit like that.
And Nixon had this group called he called them the plumbers because they plugged leaks. It was like a covert group that would go around and figure stuff out for him.
Scandals used to be so corny. Obviously, Watergate was bad. Blah blah blah. I understand the historical significance or whatnot, but we're so beyond anything like that right now in this modern day, man.
They broke into somebody's like psychiatrist's office or something like that. It was crazy.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah, no, it was actually like wicked back then. But like this is just so brazen and obvious, man.
Pedophile island.
In some other Epstein news, there was apparently a scheduled dinner at JD Vance's residence for Wednesday evening. That's yesterday for us, where Kash Patel, Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi, and others involved in this were going to meet and discuss Epstein strategy.
Just straight up, just discuss Epstein strategy.
Yeah, that's
the most criminal sounding thing ever.
Yeah, well, JD Vance has denied that this happened, but there's a bunch of people, a bunch of sources from that CNN had that were basically saying like, oh yeah, this was canceled or rescheduled or something like that because of the intense media scrutiny.
Dude, God bless Republican staffers. Like honestly, these people are the leakiest people in the world. Like wasn't Trump 1 and obviously Trump 2 now just the leakiest administration ever?
Yeah, just immediately too.
Just immediately, everyone is just getting in there and they're just telling the media they want their 15 seconds of fame, even though it's anonymous. They want the satisfaction of getting something out there in the media. For as much as these people hate legacy media and the Democrat-run news news outlets, they love going to talk to him.
Yeah.
And I love that they love it.
Yeah, and for as old and kind of fucked up as the Biden administration, for as old as Biden was, and for as like demonic his administration was, there really weren't any leaks.
No, not until the end. Everybody held that information until they could write a book about it.
Yeah, exactly. But as soon as Trump gets into office, leakiest administration of all time, man. So JD Vance denies this, of course. As I said, CNN has sources that confirmed it was happening.
Maybe they added the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic to the group chat to come to JD Vance's house.
Also in this story, apparently, they were discussing if they want to release the recorded interview between Maxwell and Todd Blanche. I don't know what that portends, but that's interesting to me.
That is really interesting, especially if that like is real, because like they wouldn't release the full record. Like I don't even believe that in a world where they got secretly recorded, they would ever actually release like the real recording, considering that they did not release the actual recording of the prison tapes and they brazenly edited it and put it out there for people to discover that they edited it. Like there's no world where they release a recording and it's real. I feel their credibility on really everything when it comes to Epstein or releasing documents has already been so burned.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what would make me believe anything that they put out. You would have to tell me that Trump was on the files. That's the only thing I'm believing at this point is Trump is in the files. Trump was on the island. Trump did bad things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he called it a hoax again the other day. He was asked about it and he said, "Oh, it's all just a hoax." Like he keeps saying this. Dude. There's no way that his name is not in those files. And yeah, like you said, if they ever dropped like a 6-hour audio file or whatever, people would look at the metadata and find that like 8 minutes were cut out where she was talking about Donald Trump, and it'd be obvious where the jump cut is. Like, come on, man.
It'd be like fucking Clementine knocked over something behind the camera.
Exactly. You'd be able to tell. So no, I don't even know if I'd trust it if like a special prosecutor was assigned, because ostensibly
who's assigning the special prosecutor?
Yeah, those are supposed to be people that are like independent and can produce a report, but like I don't even think I trust that. It's got to be like a congressional thing at this point.
Like the fact that nobody in the Biden administration said anything about the Epstein files ever tells me that yes, Bill Clinton and everybody was on it, and the fact that Trump is so defensive tells me that yes, Trump is on it. Like this is settled. Yeah, it's done deal already.
Lastly, Maxwell was moved to Club Fed.
Yeah,
that low security prison.
Her sweetheart deal is already starting right now.
Yeah, she's just hanging out in a dormitory somewhere with no cameras.
Didn't she like say something? No cameras.
Yeah, literally no cameras. Yeah,
that's crazy. Didn't she say something along the lines of like, "Yeah, I never saw Trump on the island."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's already like preempting it.
She says, "I never saw Trump on the island." Then she gets moved to a minimum security prison. Mm-hmm. Really?
Stop lying.
It's right in front of your face, bro. These people think that you can't see anything.
Yeah.
Stop believing your lying eyes.
I have a feeling she will come and testify, and she will say, "Yep, I saw Bill Clinton. Yep, I saw Barack Obama. Yep, I saw Joe Biden."
They'll make Bill Clinton show up, and they'll be like, "Point to the guy you saw on the island." She'll point right to Bill Clinton. They'll do a whole like lineup, like the usual suspects to everything.
And then she'll get a full pardon. I mean, she's essentially just like chilling in a clubhouse right now anyway. But she'll get she will get her full pardon if she testifies and doesn't mention Trump.
It's
on its way.
Crazy.
Yeah. So
or she just gets in like the prison that Epstein was in the first time, where he just got to not be in prison.
Yeah. He got to go do work.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's the Epstein news.
That is the Epstein news. And shit, while we're on the topic of Trump, we got to talk about Trump and Andrew Cuomo.
Another freak,
because there was some news that came out. The New York Times reported that Andrew Cuomo had a secret phone call with Donald Trump.
That's how you know you got to vote Zoran, man.
That's fucking insane right there, dude. And it's like, we don't know the details of the phone call, right? We don't know exactly what was said, but what else would it be about other than like trying to get Trump to rally support for Cuomo to beat Mamdani?
Which is insane in this time when so much of the first round of voting in the New York mayoral primary was all about like, how can we Trump-proof the city? What will you do to fight back against Trump? Every potential Democratic wannabe elected right now is being asked, how will you fight back against Trump? And this dude Cuomo is talking to Trump on the phone.
And then this dude said, "I'm going to make a secret backdoor deal with Trump. I'm going to have secret conversations with him to try and beat my opponent.
Yeah.
I'm going to collude with the enemy, with the person we're supposed to be running against, just so Zoran Mamdani, a guy who actually wants to do things for the city, wins."
Yeah.
Andrew Cuomo, the sex pest, calls Donald Trump the fucking sex pest.
Mm-hmm.
So that they can collude to beat Zoran, normal guy?
Normal guy who just wants free bus.
Normal guy who wants free and fair busing?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous, and that's the fucking meat and potatoes of the story right there. There's not much to be speculated on. We just know that Cuomo is taking calls with Trump. Cuomo is going behind the back. Like this is the guy that establishment figures in the DNC are throwing their weight behind. Even if it's not openly, even if it's not publicly, the refusal of people like Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries to endorse Zoran in this ways is an implicit endorsement of Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
Because that's who they really want to win, because Zoran threatens their status as Capitol lovers.
Yeah. Even Cory Booker, who's out here saying like, oh, the Democratic Party needs to learn how to start fighting back. Senator from New Jersey, which neighbors New York, is not out here endorsing Zoran. He was asked about it and he basically wouldn't give an answer, which, like you said, is an implicit endorsement of the status quo candidate, which is, of course, Andrew Cuomo.
Yes.
Or Eric Adams, but like Eric Adams is also the most corrupt man alive.
Eric
So
Adams
take your
is so
pick.
fucking sick, dude. If anybody other than Zoran wins, it's got to be Adams. Just like...
Just for us.
Like, you think Cuomo is going to be any better? You know what I'm saying? Like, Cuomo's not going to do anything better for the fucking city. They're both Republicans at this point, dude. Oh,
And it's
my
like-
God. At least Adams would be funny.
And it's like Cuomo and Trump are just the same guy.
Yeah.
Like they're both rich kids from New York. At least I think they're both from New York.
They are.
And they both don't give a fuck about you.
They
Like,
both
they're the
come
same
from
guy.
powerful families.
Yeah.
They're both fucking rich as hell. When Andrew Cuomo was asked how much rent he pays in the city, he goes $7,000 a month. Brother, what?
That's
I
insane.
don't, what?
He doesn't live in the city, but yeah.
I don't even touch that.
Yeah.
That's for rent.
I could never.
That's fucked up, dude. And that's why it's just like, these people are not Democrats, right? These people like Andrew Cuomo, even these like establishment figures, they're not Democrats. They're only Democrats in that they like love losing. They don't genuinely hold the values that people think that the Democratic Party has. Because they have no values themselves.
Yeah,
These people just get up there and they put a D in front of their name because they know that no Republican can win in a place like New York. And that's it.
Yeah.
That is literally it. The only thing they have in common with the rest of the Dems and the rest of the establishment Dems is their proclivity to lose and make wrong decisions.
And they fuck with Israel.
Israel's
That's the only
so
other thing,
heavy.
dude. Yeah. And it's like we have a scenario like that happening here in Michigan too. Mike Duggan is a Democrat mayor of Detroit, and yet he's running as an independent now, and he's getting funded by Trump billionaires. Yep. It's like you were only a Democrat because you knew you couldn't win as a Republican in this with this constituency, and you wanted to win.
And they get away with it like every fucking time.
Yeah.
And it's so goddamn annoying. Once again, another problem with the two-party system. As much as the Trump administration has made me go back on a lot of previous, not even go back on a lot of previous principles, but made me become a rules and status quo enjoyer in the meantime in response to the horrible things that he's doing, I will never be a two-party system endorser.
Never.
That's fucked up. That just cannot happen. And it's like, we know Trump has like a foot in the door, we know Trump has a dog in this race. He's a former New Yorker. He lived there his whole life. He still owns a bunch of real estate in New York. He's being briefed by like pollsters who used to work for Clinton on what's going on. Trump has a vested interest in Andrew Cuomo winning, despite them sparring publicly.
Yeah.
And you should always keep that in mind, especially if you're in New York.
Yeah.
You should always keep that in mind. And you should let everyone you know that Andrew Cuomo and Trump are more similar than they are different.
Yeah. Andrew Cuomo is taking calls with Donald Trump, probably getting backing from Donald Trump's like donors or whatever. Eric Adams literally got off the hook from his federal investigation because he's doing favors for Donald Trump. So I think you should use my favorite principle: vote blue no matter who.
Vote blue no matter who.
And vote for the Democratic candidate.
We know who the nominee is. It's Zoran Mamdani. Look. Andrew Cuomo and Donald Trump once again. Sex pests.
Yeah.
New York, you can't let that happen.
Not again,
New
man.
York, this guy resigned in disgrace.
Yeah.
You cannot let him win the...
He killed your granny, probably.
He killed your grandma and sued for the gynecological records of 13 women. That's a crazy sentence. That's a sentence that you should never have to hear ever.
And he's up against a guy who wants free bus.
Fucked up, man.
He's up
What a
against the dude
fucking
who wants
world.
free bus.
Free bus, lower rent.
Free bus, lower rent.
Oh my
cheaper
God.
groceries. Easy
I wonder
platform.
which one I would pick. Free bus, lower bills, or sex pest?
I would love free bus.
I would love free bus.
And I would hate sex pest. Exactly. I would hate sex pest.
Yes, sir.
The congregation is missing someone. And that someone, dear listener, is you. The congregation awaits you over on our Discord. If you go into the description of this episode right now, There will be a link to join the Head in the Office Discord where you will find more than 1,000 like-minded individuals for you to interact with. And maybe most importantly, we'll be there.
1,000 members strong. It is a burgeoning community of Hiddo heads.
That's right.
Ready to receive you into their arms. Make you a part of the community. Vest you as a Hiddo head.
Over on Discord, we have discussions. You can interact with other Hiddo heads. And maybe, for some fun, we can do some community events. And we know that you want to be a part of that. Only available over on the official Head in the Office Discord.
But while we're on the topic of evil things, we gotta move back and zoom out once again, because number one New York podcast, number one local news podcast.
Yeah, number one New York City podcast.
For a moment here, we're big New York City politics enjoyers over here. Our bread and butter is, other than geopolitics, talking about things nationally, talking about some legislation that is insane across the country.
Truth.
And we gotta go back to Congress, because despite them being out of session, we once again have to add another chapter in the why do American politicians think it's okay to hold me hostage for maybe not supporting another country saga.
Oh, all this talk about releasing the hostages.
All this talk about
why
releasing
am I
the
hostage?
hostages. They didn't know that I'm one of them as well. And soon to be all of the colleges and universities around the country if this bill is passed. Because this week, U.S. Representatives Josh Gottheimer, Democrat from New Jersey, and Virginia Foxx, a Republican from North Carolina, introduced the bipartisan Protect Economic and Academic Freedom Act. What do you think they mean by protecting economic and academic freedom? Surely it isn't the exact opposite of what that title is, right?
They love doing this shit where they name it something about freedom and it's actually like you can't say anything bad about Israel.
That's literally from Josh Gottheimer. From Josh Gottheimer's website, the legislation, quote, prohibits colleges and universities from receiving federal student aid if they engage in commercial and academic boycotts promoted by the anti-Semitic and hate-fueled boycott, sanction, and divest movement.
Dog.
Brother, this is a bipartisan effort to hold your ability to get higher education hostage if the institution that just so happened to accepted you decided that they weren't going to do as much research with Israel as they used to. That's fucked up.
It's not fucking hate-fueled to just say, like, we're not going to buy stuff from Israeli companies.
Because they're doing a genocide.
Because the nation is doing a genocide. Or just, like,
in general, like, maybe it's not in our best interest to buy things from this place right now.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to have a satellite campus in Tel Aviv anymore.
Why are we forcing things, just not even universities, but just broadly with these anti-BDS things, why are we forcing places, things, corporations, people to engage with something that they may not, like, want to in this case? With another fucking country, dude.
Yeah, I don't know the history on this, but I wonder if they did this with apartheid South Africa too. Because it's like the United States Congress will go to bat for the most evil countries on the planet.
Dog, if they had identity politics back then, like they do now, there would be Democrats that would be weaponizing identity politics in the most cynical way to get you to support South African apartheid. I don't know how they do it, but I know they would do it. Just like how they do the anti-Semitism thing when it comes to like BDS. And when they do the anti-Semitism thing when it comes to any anti-Zionist activity, even the most banal and flavorless.
And what this piece of legislation is saying is that we will defund your university if they don't fuck with Israel like much as we want them to.
No more Pell Grant for you if your university decides we don't want to engage in research collaborations anymore with Tel Aviv University.
No more publicly funded research. Your tuition costs are gonna go up if your university doesn't fuck with Israel.
You're gonna be in worse student debt.
And the vast majority of universities don't do anything related to BDS in Israel.
No.
Like, most of them don't do anything. This is a direct response to the small blips of movements that we got in 2024 where students were saying that their university should divest from Israel.
Yes.
Because they're doing a genocide of the Palestinian people, like Columbia University and such.
Part of like what they used to like justify the bill is like rise in anti-Semitism on campus and like Jewish students feeling unsafe. That was 2 years ago's talking point. That's not even a thing right now anymore.
Yeah.
We don't have the fucking campus encampments anymore. We don't have the wicked protests going on at Columbia. Everywhere capitulated and already made them stop. Like, you can't use that excuse anymore.
Yeah, dog, the Democratic Party loves boxing with protesters that could be in their coalition.
No, literally.
All these students who are obviously politically active, they are angry about a very specific issue. You can mobilize that energy, but instead you're trying to use the power of the state to get them to stop. You're saying we will defund your college if you don't stop doing this.
Yes.
That's just like a perfect way to alienate and disillusion voters.
And it's like, yes, anti-Semitism is bad. I condemn it. But these people that use like Jewish students feeling like there's a rise on anti-Semitic or feeling unsafe on campus as ways to just do bad things and push bad legislation, push bad rhetoric, be pro-genocide, are ignoring that a lot of these student encampments and student protests were ran by Jewish student groups. Because anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, and it is anti-Semitic to tie the two together. It is anti-Semitic to say that all Jewish people have to think one way about this, or all Jewish people do think one way about this. You are removing their right to self-determine.
Yeah, it's anti-Semitic to say that all actions by the Israeli government are endorsed by Jewish people across the world.
They're not.
Because obviously they're not, right? Like anti-Zionism is not the same thing as anti-Semitism. And by passing laws like this, low-key, you just make anti-Semitism worse.
Yes.
Because you know how much work intellectually you got to do to disentangle the U.S. government support from Israel from this narrative that like Jewish people run the world. It's a complex thing that people got to do in their brains. And by going to bat so much for Israel, a country that does not need our money and is using our money to do evil things, people are just going to be more anti-Semitic, and that's bad. I don't want that.
This is something that I like spend a lot of time just like thinking about in general as a content creator, and as somebody who helps like do content creation for other people as well as part of our fucking job, right? There is genuinely a rise in anti-Semitism, but it's not on college campuses like they say there is, or it's not like in any meaningful uptick on college campuses like they say there is. I'm not going to deny maybe an individual instance happened here or there, but it's not a systemic problem. Where there is a rise in anti-Semitism is online, because now I am seeing posts. I'm seeing posts by creators that are engaging with somebody who is Jewish, and a lot of the comments on these posts are from people that I don't even necessarily want to call well-meaning, because when a lot of people see a Jewish name online in anything that's vaguely political, a lot of the top comments on those posts are, oh, what are their thoughts on Israel?
Yeah, that is anti-Semitic.
And it's like, that's anti-Semitic. It genuinely is. Like, that's crazy to see a Jewish name and think, oh, what are their thoughts on Israel? I bet they're Israel supporting. Do they take money from AIPAC? That's not how we engage in being pro-Palestinian. You're not helping the movement by doing that. I hope none of you go out and do that, because that's weird fucking behavior. It's weird fucking behavior to assume that anybody that's Jewish and doing politics is taking AIPAC money or an Israel supporter. And this is something that I've seen firsthand on content that we have produced, not for Head in the Office, but for other like other people. It's fucked up. And that's what's happening as a result of politicians on both sides of the aisle running around and talking about how anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism and trying to push these formal definitions of anti-Semitism that include anti-Zionism through fucking Congress.
Yeah, something that Alyssa Slotkin voted for, by the way.
Something that Alyssa Slotkin, my unfortunately senator, voted for.
It's just because, like, when you say that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, what you're saying is that if you don't support everything that the state of Israel does, then you don't support Jewish people as a whole. And that's just so wrong, because then you're saying that you have to support this project of an ethno-state. You have to support this genocide, otherwise you don't support Jewish people. And that's going to lead people to be like, well, then maybe Jewish people do run the world. And that's a bad thought.
That's fucked up and dumb and stupid.
It's like you're just feeding directly into it. And like low-key, that's the type of shit that Netanyahu wants people to think.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't give a fuck about Jewish people. He wants to kill Palestinians. And it's
as unfortunate as it is, it's true, right? It's true. But even just going back to the legislation, specifically, the legislation would, again, this is from Josh Gottheimer's website, require colleges and universities to certify that the institution is not engaging in a non-expressive commercial boycott of Israel or forego the ability to receive federal student aid. Define non-expressive commercial boycott of Israel to mean a commercial action, including engaging in refusals to deal with Israel and terminating business activities intended to limit commercial relations with Israel or persons or entities conducting business in Israel or Israeli-controlled institutions, and is not based on a valid business reason.
Oh, this is saying you can't invest the endowment in the military-industrial complex, or you have to. You have to.
Like, what is a valid business reason? Sure, congrats on defining the reason that would get them condemned, but you're not defining what a valid business reason is. This is incredibly vague, and this is just going to use to be punished institutions that are perceived as woke. That's all it is. This is the Punish Columbia legislation or whatever. It would also direct the Department of Education to make a publicly available list of all institutions that do not certify that they're not engaging in this quote-unquote bad behavior, and require colleges and universities that are recipients of international education programs, Title VI funding, to not allow academic boycotts, but instead engage in academic exchange reciprocity.
What the fuck, dude?
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, legislation like this is obviously blatantly insane. What BDS laws are already insane to begin with. I don't understand how they're constitutional in any way, shape, or form, right? But that's a complex history there that I only scratched the surface of reading this morning. But like, when you get legislation like this, that is so crazy. It really makes you wonder how or why this thing was able to happen or this thing was able to come up.
Yeah.
But in this case, we literally know why Gottheimer and Foxx did this. It's a, quote, open secret, if you will. I did some digging this morning, and I looked at some campaign finance reports and found exactly why these two people decided to work across the aisle in a bipartisan manner on this pressing and very serious and not made up issue. In the 2024 cycle alone, Virginia Foxx's top 3 donors were 1, AIPAC, 2, Republican Jewish Coalition, and 3, NORPAC, which is another bipartisan pro-Israel lobby.
Cool.
Virginia Foxx's top 3 donors were 3 separate pro-Israel lobbies.
Yeah.
That's what's going on there. She received about $122,000 from those 3 donors, $66,000 from AIPAC as her top donor. That's more than double the amount the runner-up gave her.
Dog, that's like, is she even running in a competitive district?
I don't think Virginia Foxx is running in a competitive
She's
district.
just taking this for the love of the game.
Exactly. No, that's $122,000. That's like 10% of all the money she raised during the 2024 cycle, right?
Yeah.
But it gets worse. It gets so much worse. Josh Gottheimer, the Democrat from New Jersey, received $792,000 from just AIPAC in just the 2024 election cycle.
That is unforgivable.
That's
dude.
it.
That's so much money.
$750,000 just from AIPAC in one House race. In one fucking cycle. I think he was like the 6th most funded thing from AIPAC in that cycle. In that entire fucking cycle when I dug through Open Secrets. All these links are in the description below if you want to poke around and see exactly how their campaign finance breaks down. If you want to look at your own representative, just check out that link in the description. AIPAC naturally was Josh Gottheimer's top donor, representing 24% of all the money that he raised in that cycle.
A quarter of everything you got is from AIPAC.
Yes.
From a foreign lobby that is not designated as a foreign lobby.
Yes.
Because all AIPAC does is lobby for Israel. They have never broken with what the state of Israel does.
That's their stated purpose, is to just make America more pro-Israel and more in line with whatever the Israeli government wants to do.
Yeah, like at least J Street pretends to like want things other than what the Netanyahu government wants, right?
Exactly.
Like they're willing to be critical of Netanyahu. I still think J Street is just it's kind of just like a liberal Zionist version of AIPAC, honestly.
Exactly.
They don't like meaningfully push back or meaningfully push for things that would push back against Israel. But like AIPAC is just unabashedly in favor of everything Israel does no matter what.
No matter what.
And people taking money from AIPAC should be kicked out of the party.
Especially when you're taking $792,000 from this AIPAC.
Blood money as far as I'm concerned.
Naturally, again, AIPAC was his top donor, and he got more money from AIPAC than his 2nd, 3rd, and 4th highest donors combined.
Oh my God, dude.
That's so much money. His 2nd highest donor was Act Blue with only like $500,000. His 3rd highest donor was like his own Gottheimer Victory Fund, which is crazy that those two combined don't even eclipse the AIPAC money.
Well, and Act Blue is just kind of like a general Democrat funding thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then his 4th highest donor was, again, NORPAC, the lesser-known Israel lobby. Guys, what the fuck is going on?
$800,000 just from AIPAC is diabolical, dude.
More than the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th combined?
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? And it's always remember, if you are struggling to figure out why a nonsensical bill was introduced, just follow the money. That's all you got to do. I sat here for this morning after I read the story, and I'm like, God, trying to figure out like a reason why they would do this, trying to like actually think through something and try and build up an idea. And then I thought, I can just look it up.
Yeah.
I can just look it up in an open secret. I can find their campaign finance and see if they're funded by AIPAC, see if they're funded by these pro-Israel lobbies, see if they're giving them ungodly, unforgivable amounts of money.
I wouldn't even be surprised if Gottheimer and Virginia Foxx didn't even write this themselves.
Absolutely
like a lot of the
not.
time, interest groups just like give members of Congress a piece of legislation and they introduce it without having really anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Like
They didn't even have to read it.
It is like money in politics is insidious, but just the role that the Israel lobby plays is insane in this country.
Now Gottheimer, I think this week just left and he's leading like a trip to Israel.
Oh, of course
like with members of Congress, like leading, which is right now
a force for evil, dude.
After he put out a statement saying, "Oh, I'm glad Israel's letting the food in, but also this is all Hamas's fault." Like, come on, visiting Israel right now. Explicitly evil. They're starving babies in Palestine. What the fuck?
Netanyahu just reiterated again that the end goal is to completely occupy Gaza. Like, he's talking about completely taking over Gaza 100%. Not that it wasn't an occupation technically beforehand, but there was like a facade of separation between Israel and Gaza, even though Gaza wasn't its own state. But like, he's talking about a full occupation again, like full pre-2005 occupation. That's crazy.
Yes.
And you're out here in support of it. I mean, even last year, the Democratic Party was so obviously out of touch with its own voter base. And one thing I wonder when I see stuff like this is like, okay, people in a democracy are supposed to be able to get together and protest and attempt to make social change. If you can't get institutions in your community or institutions that you attend, like a college, to make changes to put pressure on Israel to change their policies, what the fuck can you do? Like, one of the first, if you take like a PS 1000 or PS 100 class in college, one of the first things you learn about is like how to do social change. Like, how have people in the past done grassroots movements? One of the ways to do that is by getting powerful institutions to make policy changes based on popular uprisings or popular protest movements. If you can't push your college to like divest from, I don't know, military contractors that do business with Israel, then what the fuck are you allowed to do to get people to stop supporting a genocide? Yeah. There's just no recourse, and that kind of shit leads to like political violence. Like, if there's no outlet for how angry people are, how disgusted people are about a policy in the United States, what else do you expect them to do other than like riot low key? Yeah. And that's bad. I don't like that.
When you take away every peaceful option of resistance, people are only left with the non-peaceful options. And I mean, fuck, you see it in Gaza. Yeah. That's exactly the situation that gets terrorist groups to run around when they have no other means of engaging with an entity that is so much more powerful than them, when they cannot do it peacefully, when they're constantly beaten down and not listened to. They will engage in the more violent and most extreme version of protest. They will engage in something that is aesthetically way more abrasive to force you to pay attention. Yeah. And that's just the fucking sociology of it. That's not me going and endorsing violence or anything like that. Obviously, I condemn political violence.
Naturally.
But that's me pointing out a phenomenon that is endured throughout history. And that's just what it is.
I don't know what else people are supposed to do, because we have so little power to influence foreign policy. Like, right, we elect senators, we elect the president, but those elections are so rare that we very rarely get the opportunity to actually change foreign policy. So if you're in the position of a citizen and you see something disgusting happening on the world stage that the U.S. is complicit in, you'll want to try to make change. And one of the only ways you can really make change is by doing BDS type stuff. And you can't even like do the S part. Like, you aren't capable of sanctioning a country. Absolutely so not. You can divest and you can boycott stuff. And sure, you can do that on your own, but as an individual, it doesn't make much of a difference. So your next goal then would be to convince large, powerful, wealthy institutions like universities to follow suit, because it's the moral thing to do. But in this bill, it's saying, no, sorry, you can't do that. Yeah. So there is nothing that the population can actually do to change foreign policy on this issue. They just have to watch a genocide happen. That's what this bill says.
And it's just, it's so, it's all a money and politics problem.
And like, it's so fucking obvious, because the bill is for Israel. This doesn't say that like you can't do BDS stuff to any American ally. It's saying specifically you cannot do BDS against Israel. Yeah. Like, it's so clear what's happening. Yeah. We are running defense for genocide, and I think it's gross.
I think it's gross. And it's a money and politics problem. Yeah. Obviously, AIPAC is like one of the biggest, most massive examples, one of the most poignant examples right now, specifically, of how money and politics influences politicians to do things. It's very clear. It's very in your face. You really can't miss it if you open your eyes and try and look for anything. But it's like, if you follow the money, you'll find these people, the people who we ostensibly elect to represent us with our votes, don't actually represent us. They represent the people who can give them more money than God. They represent the people who are willing to give them a quarter of their entire war chest for their campaign. Yeah. We're not doing that. Individuals can't do that. Unless we got together in some massive way to donate to a fucking house race.
Yeah, no, there's no way we can match that level of political influence, especially because it's like a quarter of everything he has. If you think he's not going to be beholden to the group of people or the interest group that gave him that money, you're fucking insane.
You think he's just going to give that up?
Yeah.
You think anybody's just going to give that up? Like, Virginia Foxx is doing it for $66,000.
Like, if you think that somebody's going to run a campaign, get literally hundreds of thousands of dollars from one interest group and then get into office and switch up, like, I don't know what to tell you. That's just a special kind of delusion. If they're running and taking money, if they're running on an issue and taking money from a group that is in alignment with them on that issue, that's how they're going to act in Congress, and that's what he's fucking doing.
And that's what we see time and time again.
Yeah.
Like, that's any time, whether it's fucking, not even Joe Manchin. People get paid by the healthcare industry. They go and they vote against things that would reform healthcare. People get paid by big oil. They go and vote against climate stuff. Like, that's just, that is what happens. It's clear as day.
I was going to say clear as day, man. It's so obvious. Like, why wouldn't it work that way?
Yeah.
Yeah. So bad. Condemn.
Very, very bad. I don't like that. I condemn this legislation, and I condemn these legislators.
But it's probably going to pass. It's probably going to become law. Because Republicans control both chambers, and like there's enough Zionist Democrats to make that happen. Yeah. Type shit Alyssa Slotkin would vote for. Can't fucking stand her, dude.
Alyssa Slotkin in the same day will vote no on conditioning offensive aid to Israel and then vote yes on this. God, she's awful. She's uniquely bad, man. But I think it's time that we get into some extras.
Yeah.
Some extras today. These are, obviously the news stories that we didn't think we could make a full segment out of, but I want to start with, I saw this AP headline this week that read, quote, RFK Jr. pulls $500 million in funding for vaccine development.
Yeah.
And that's it.
We were an empire for long enough.
Yeah, I just wanted
to
share that with you guys. Yeah. You can't really put into words how dumb this is. It's almost beyond parody. It's almost beyond commentary. But I think it's another example in the saga of how every headline that I seem to read out of the Trump administration is either they're doing something to actively make your life worse, they're doing something because they want to kill you, or they're just going to kill you.
This is, I was going to say, it's another sort of notch in the pro-death party's belt.
It's the they want to kill you announcement.
Yeah.
What else is it when you pull $500 million from vaccine funding? When you put the fucking anti-vaxxer, when you put the guy who sold baby onesies that said unvaxxed and unafraid as the leader of HHS, you're going to get shit like this. And in a time where measles outbreaks are happening, like fucking all over the place, low-key, or at least there was a measles outbreak in, was it Texas? We should not be anti-vax. And we should not be discouraging people from getting vaccines.
This is just to remind people the timeline. Like, RFK Jr. was an independent option running for president. Trump was concerned that he was going to pull votes away from him. And so RFK dropped out on the promise that he'd get a position in the government, and then he did. And now we're losing vaccine funding. Like, they're doing pro-death things. And it gets me with RFK because he's pulling all this money from vaccines. He says vaccines are killing people. And then the alternative is going to be like, hey, drink this elephant blood.
No, literally.
Like, it's going to be something insane as an alternative.
It'll be some big wellness thing. It'll be some detox thing that can't actually detox you because your liver is the only thing that can do that. Or he'll just... I hate these people.
Yeah.
I hate these people. I can't stand these people. And it's genuinely evil that he is in he is in a position where he can do the most like unique harm.
Yeah.
This dude's not a scientist. RFK was a lawyer, an environmental lawyer. He used to do good work.
Yeah. The brainworm, dude. I'm telling you,
there's nothing that he's ever done that would qualify him to lead HHS. Just straight up. But speaking of actively taking steps to kill you, speaking of being the pro-death party, it's been no secret that Trump, the Trump admin's client denialism is just a threat to human life.
Yeah.
Right? Like we saw it materially and explicitly play out with the cuts to NOAA and NWS actually having a meaningful effect on the Texas flash floods that we saw.
Yeah.
A direct effect. Like, there was a position that was missing, that was gone because of what Trump and Elon Musk and Doge did with the federal government, with federal funding, and how they defunded NOAA and forced people to retire.
Yep. And they just started, I don't know if this is in here, but they just started trying to hire people back that they fired from the Weather Service.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because they have to undo the Doge cuts because it was such a disaster. But it's like that, I mean, those deaths have already happened, right?
It was a disaster, and it didn't even save any money. Didn't even save, the most important thing, saving money.
Yeah, of course.
But once again, things do keep getting worse. I have to remind us of that. Yeah. This time, the Trump administration announced that it wants to stop funding the 2 NASA satellites that monitor CO2 in the atmosphere and plant growth around the planet. The entire planet.
It's the same thing we talked about last episode. If you just don't look at the problem, then it's not a problem. If you fire the person that does the jobs report and you don't know the job numbers, then there can be no economic depression.
But it's crazy because this goes beyond just like climate change stuff, right? Because like the data from this is used by climate activists, which is woke,
way too woke.
Way too wrong, and I condemn that for sure. That's right. Big climate is really It's really infested the
Big Green.
Democrats. Big Green.
Well, the Green New Deal, it passed.
This is true. I'm reminded of it every single day.
No more hamburgers.
But like, yes, the data is used by climate scientists. It's also used by farmers and like agriculture to help understand crop yields and help see where droughts are likely to happen. And when droughts happen, it causes mass migration because people want to get rid of the droughts, especially in poorer countries across the globe. And this is an entire planetary thing. It's not just about woke climate science. It's about actively monitoring conditions that are necessary for human health, livelihood, and survival.
Yeah.
And whether or not people can eat fucking crop yields.
Yeah, it's literally like people that don't understand just like the most basic components of science making all the decisions about science. It's the fucking tweet that comes up anytime something like this happens where it's like, we discover crop rotations and then someone's like, bro, you think the bees need to take turns? It's literally that. Yeah. Like, you just don't fucking understand.
Thinks the bees need to take turns.
They don't fucking understand anything, and it's gonna kill us.
It will. And like probably the most insulting part about this is that these satellites only cost $15 million a year to maintain. That is chump change for the United States federal government.
Yeah, no, the federal spending has not changed from last year to this year. In fact, it's gonna get worse because we increased the deficit.
Yeah, exactly.
So
no, literally, fucking chump change. $15 million is literally nothing. But if we ask ourselves who stands to gain anything from this, it's clear who this is for. From NPR last week, quote, NASA announced it will consider proposals from private companies and universities that are willing to take on the cost of maintaining the device that is attached to the International Space Station, as well as another device that measures ozone in the atmosphere. NASA did not respond to questions from NPR about whether other missions will also be privatized.
Oh, man.
The government is collecting and providing the data. That means that a businessman is not profiting from its sale. Yeah. And that's fundamentally what's wrong with this country right now.
Man, privatization, I fucking hate that word.
Private-public partnerships. Yes, I know sometimes they're good. Sometimes blah, 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 blah.
It's kind of nauseating, though.
But right now, we're looking at a situation where Trump is looking at something that is wholly for the public good, studying fucking CO2 in the atmosphere, studying crop yields across the world, studying where plants are growing and where plants aren't growing to maybe see if the beans need to take turns.
Well, yeah, of course. One, that's woke.
And that's really woke. And they're saying we need to take that away and we need to give it some private businessman. There is nothing that the Trump administration does that is not for a shareholder profit first. And anything that results in maybe any sort of public good down the line is down the line.
Yeah.
And it is secondary, tertiary, maybe even quaternary from the primary purpose of making businessmen more money.
And it's so hard nowadays to make arguments for these things as public services because people really do take it for granted.
Yes.
Like the fact that you can just on your phone or go to a library or somewhere with internet service and just look up what the weather is completely for free, that is something that will not exist if the National Weather Service gets privatized. Yes. Like you will have to pay a subscription service.
A subscription that you're not going to be able to cancel because they got rid of the one-click to cancel rule.
Or even more insidious, like you'd have to pay a subscription service to know if like a hurricane is coming through your neighborhood or something like that. That is a bad world.
Hurricane touchdown in your county, you pay $10.99 to figure out if it's going to hit your house.
Not everything needs to be I would actually argue that nothing really needs to be a commodity, but the point is like nothing in our country needs to. These public services are crucial, man. Like we need them in order to have a functioning country, and just getting rid of them and so they don't happen, or privatizing them so somebody can profit off of them, just makes them worse. And I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. Yeah. Not one bit, but
I'm not a fan of the commodity form.
No.
I don't like it. Look it up, folks. Also, look up where the term privatization came from. You'll be shocked by the results.
Oh, I wonder.
Came from Nazi Germany, by the way.
I wonder. Speaking of Nazi Germany.
Perfect transition, baby. Come on.
In other news, a new Nazi-coded tweet dropped from DHS. This one reads, quote, "Serve your country, defend your culture. No undergraduate degree required."
It's too on the nose, man.
It's to sign up for ICE. It's to sign up to be a part of the Gestapo, dude.
It's a bit too direct for me. I think it's too much.
There's so much packed into these like 3 sentences, right? It's like they're not even pretending that there's a non-racist motive for the mass deportation effort anymore. They're straight up saying we're doing white replacement theory.
Yeah.
Sign up because the whites are being diluted in this country and you need to protect that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And it's also just like, The no college degree part is so funny. Not because I look down on people that don't have college degrees.
Of course.
In fact, I think less jobs should require college degrees, and it's kind of absurd the place that we've gotten at. But it's just the part saying no college degree required is just an admission that ICE will literally take anybody in. Anybody who's willing to go and black bag an abuela out of their home that they've been living in for 15 years in this country and deport them to somewhere that they've never ever been before violently will be accepted into this organization.
Yeah.
That's crazy. There are more barriers to entry to just getting like a regular job, a regular career in like fucking business or HR or healthcare than there is to becoming a violent arm of the state in the modern day Gestapo.
Yeah, I also saw that they raised the age cap on who can be an ICE officer, and there was like a picture of like a younger man next to an older man, both in like ICE uniforms or whatever. Like you said, they will accept literally anybody and everybody if you're willing to go and brutalize brown people at the behest of the federal government.
That's insane.
And it's just so funny seeing like no degree required.
Protect your culture, no degree required. Come on, man.
It feels like it'd be out of like The Boys or something like that, and it's real life.
Yeah.
The Onion has run for its money.
Like that's what I should see on like Indeed.
Yeah.
Not DHS. Man, we got a real country on our hands.
A real country.
We got a real country on our
doing real
hands.
things. Anyways, I think that that might deliver us from this episode.
Precisely.
Brings us to the end of this episode, and somehow we survived yet again.
And speaking to the people that help deliver us to the studio, 2 times a week now to deliver the news to you guys tertiarily.
Big.
And you know what? Maybe I'm even a secondary source this time talking about campaign finance. Who's that shit?
True. You were breaking down the numbers.
Getting a bit too big for my britches over here. You know what I'm saying?
Soon we might be primary sources on the ground reporting.
I got to give a special thanks to the people that help us do this twice a week, starting with Caden Kraut, Chris the Postman, Christy Beck, Mike Chaplinsky, Clayton LaFed, Mark Yeager, Caleb Joy, Rich Toro, Tari, Fergalaki, Max Vezquez, Jacob Rogers, Colton Mooberry, Fixer Punk, Jim Egbers, Big Burrito, Cincy Alex, Joe Stentrum, Adrian Sandoval, Chloe Sam 601, Colleen Cuts, Jennifer DeVoe, Croft Fish, Benny Bennington III, Alexei Benanti, Big Booty Beatdown, Sam Maloney, Ted Cruz's Boy Toy, Dictator Jace, Luke O'Shea, Cucker Tarleson, Danielle Jackson, The Word of Microsoft, Jennifer Signs, Aaron and his Gundam Gundams, Darth Father, Tailored for Content, Crew Chambers, Retro Mondo, Veronica aka V, Raxon, Ass Smith, The Grotler, Murder in a Trench Coat, Casey Lynn Kelly, AK Gon, Iguana Don, Zach Lantian, Austin Greif, Marcus Corbett, Caleb Roper, Tyler Rensock, Cammie, Tylen Freeman, Isaac Hodges, Madeline C, Anna Valenic, KCC, Say Yes to West, August Particular, Pickman, Sir Capalot, Jeff Signs, Brendan is Egg, Froggy, Gumdrop,
Jackie Boy, Shameless, Coherent Babbles, MJ Sharp, Michaela Muncie, The Wallace 3000, Chris T, Kishan Lala, Amanda R, Tyler J, Particulon, Memfrez, Rhonda Stiletto, Midwest Marxist, Joe the Mailman, Gary from West Michigan, Shawnee GG, Juniper Not Jupiter, Stacked Crabs, I Crowley, Urban Peach, Lord of Forlorn, Holt Forsyth, Booty Snakes, Dew Fairy, Chelceratops, Austin Lima, Lane Waltz, Azim Fitta Hussein, Gorgeous Girl Mukes, Brooklyn G, Noverk the Dastardly, Goldthorn, Addie Book, Merlin, Cryobongi, Sergeant Pookie, Hoodie, Kim Kitsuragi, Rose Graham, Kristen, Jamie the Young Extremist, Jack the Heathen, Archer W, Evan Mingo, AJ Torres, Elo Nico, Jake Hall, Seth Schmidt, Noah Sajas, Majo What, Ultra the Dragon, Mercy Boku, Dick Cheney and 6-Inch Heels, Luke Wechter, Henry Kraggles, Tristan Ringsmith, Yaya, Asura the Atheist, Aiden Reese, Deep State Agent, Puddle Pirate, Joshua Franklin, Southern Lefty, Lark 61, KC, Cannon Man, Troy H, Mark Muffalo, Nahan San Diego, Nut Mode, Nick from New Haven, Connor, Nick, Sound Logic, Sleven, and my mom, and the patron called
what's
I've
that
never
one
given
that
a woman an orgasm. That's what they called themselves.
Big on that.
They think they're playing some kind of joke on us.
They do, but it's just your name. That's just your that's your Christian name, and you just put it down on the Patreon for us to read.
Your God-given name, but like, who's the joke really on? Since we're getting your $5 or $10 or $10.
Oh, real as hell.
We're getting your $10 a month. So like, who's the real joke?
Exactly.
I'll do anything for money. We love money.
We love money on this podcast.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Have a great weekend.